Do you know what betrayal feels like? Not the kind you see in movies with dramatic slaps and screaming matches, but the quiet kind. The kind that hides under candlelight and clinking glasses, waiting to strike when you least expect it. For me, it came in one sentence, 6 words that turned an engagement dinner into the worst night of my life. They've been living together already. It came from her sister, sitting 2 seats down from me, tipsy from wine and laughing a little too hard. She didn't mean to say it. Hell, you could see the regret in her eyes the moment the words left her lips. But it was too late. The bomb was already dropped, and there was no taking it back. The table froze, laughter died mid-sound, glasses hovered in the air, half raised untouched. I sat there with my fork still in my hand, staring at her sister as the words ricocheted inside my skull. Living together. Already. That made no sense. Because I wasn't living with her. We had promised each other we'd wait until after the wedding. Keep it traditional. That was her idea, not mine. She had insisted it would make the first year of marriage more special, that we should keep something sacred to look forward to. I went along with it. I respected her. I respected what she said she wanted. But now, apparently, she was already living with someone. Her hand tightened around her napkin. Her face went pale, lips pressing together so hard, they almost disappeared. She darted a look at her sister, who immediately turned red, fumbling her glass. "Oops," her sister muttered. "I didn't mean it like that. Didn't mean it like that." How else was I supposed to take it? I forced a laugh, though it came out too thin, too hollow. "Living together already," I said lightly. "That's news to me." Her sister's eyes widened, realizing the hole she'd just dug. "I mean, well, you know, she's always at, She stopped, panic flashing across her face, like she'd just thrown gasoline on a fire she couldn't put out. My fiancée swooped in then, her voice sharp, her smile stretched too tight. "She's drunk. Don't listen to her. You know how she gets after a couple of glasses." But I wasn't drunk. I wasn't laughing. And in her sister's eyes, behind the panic, I saw something else, the truth. The dinner dragged on after that, people forcing conversations back to birthdays, and toasts and memories. But it all sounded far away. I smiled when I was supposed to, nodded when someone asked me a question. But inside, I wasn't at that table anymore. I was stuck on those 6 words, replaying them over and over. They've been living together already. After dessert, I excused myself and slipped into the bathroom. I didn't even bother locking the door. I just leaned against the sink and stared at my reflection. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. Living together. Already. With who? Because it wasn't me. That night. Back at our place. My place. Not ours. I asked her. "What did your sister mean?" I asked quietly, setting my keys down on the counter. Her eyes flickered just for a second before she rolled them, forcing a laugh. "Oh my God, you're not seriously bringing that up?" "She was drunk. Don't be paranoid." "Paranoid," I repeated. "She said you've been living with someone." "Who? Who are you living with?" Her voice sharpened. "Nobody. You're twisting her words. You always do this. You overthink everything. Can't you just enjoy one nice night without turning it into an interrogation?" And there it was. Not an answer. A deflection. Gaslighting. I dropped it for the moment, but the crack had already formed. I couldn't unhear what her sister had said. I couldn't unsee the panic in her eyes. Over the next few days, I started noticing things I had ignored before. The way she guarded her phone like it was made of gold, how she'd disappear for errands that took hours, coming back with nothing but vague excuses. How sometimes she came home smelling faintly of cologne, that wasn't mine. I brushed it off at first, told myself I was being paranoid, just like she said, but then I remembered the look on her sister's face, and the doubts grew claws. So I started digging. The first place I checked was the credit card statement, shared account. She never thought I'd look closely, but I did, and what I found made my stomach drop. 2 sets of utility bills in her name, one for the apartment she officially had with a friend before we got engaged, and another at a completely different address I didn't recognize. Rent payments, consistent, every month, furniture store purchases, things I'd never seen. It wasn't just an affair. It wasn't late-night hookups in hotels or stolen kisses after work. She had a whole other life. With him, I sat in the dark that night, scrolling through the charges, my chest hollow. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but something in me told me to wait. If she had lied this long, she'd lie again. I needed proof, solid, undeniable proof. The opportunity came 2 nights later. She fell asleep on the couch, her phone buzzing quietly beside her. I picked it up. Her passcode was her birthday. I shouldn't have known it, but I did, and then the screen opened, and my world fell apart. Texts, dozens of them, from him, photos of them cooking together, selfies on his couch, him kissing her cheek while she giggled into the camera. Her texts, full of hearts and pet names, messages like "I love waking up in our place together." Our place. I scrolled further. Videos, voice notes, plans, discussions about furniture, about vacations, about the future. A future that didn't include me. My hands went numb. My throat burned. I felt like I was drowning while sitting in my own living room. She stirred in her sleep, mumbling something, and I set the phone down carefully, quietly, as if it might explode. I stared at her face, peaceful, innocent, and I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I started compiling screenshots, forward texts, photos, bank records, a folder of truth, a record of every lie she'd told me. Because if she wanted to live in 2 worlds, I was going to bring them crashing together, and I wasn't going to do it in private. She had humiliated me in public, whether she knew it or not. Her sister had spilled the secret in front of a room full of people, making me the fool without even realizing it. So when the time came, I was going to return the favor. Her cousin's birthday was coming up in 2 weeks. Another big family gathering, another chance for her to smile and laugh, and play the perfect bride-to-be. And that's where I would end it. Her cousin's birthday rolled around like a storm cloud. I had been tracking for weeks. By then, the folder of evidence I'd been building sat ready in my bag. Texts, screenshots, receipts, photos. Proof so thick it felt like it could crush me if I thought too hard about it. She got ready that evening humming to herself, slipping into a navy dress and heels, looking every bit the perfect fiancée. She even came over, straightened my tie, and kissed me lightly. "Don't look so serious tonight," she teased. If only she knew. When we arrived at her cousin's house, the place buzzed with life. Balloons floated in the corners, kids zipped through the hallways, relatives gathered in the kitchen with wine and hors d'oeuvre. Everyone greeted us warmly, pulling me into hugs, clapping me on the back, telling me how lucky I was. And the cruelest part, they believed it. They believed we were a picture-perfect couple. She slid through the room like a star, laughing with her cousins, helping in the kitchen, pouring drinks. If anyone else noticed the guilt she carried, they didn't show it. Maybe they didn't want to. Dinner came, and the long table filled with dishes, glasses clinking, chatter swirling. I sat there calm, almost detached, like I was watching a play I already knew the ending to. My heart should have been racing, but instead it beat slow, steady, certain. Then her uncle stood, lifting his glass, his voice booming. "Before we toast the birthday girl, let's also raise a glass to these 2 lovebirds here, soon to be married." He gestured toward us, smiling proudly. "You two give us all hope for the future." Everyone clapped, their faces bright with joy. She blushed, squeezed my hand under the table, and whispered, "See, everyone's so happy for us." That was my cue. I stood slowly, pulling the folder from my bag. The room quieted, curiosity rippling through the crowd. She frowned, her hand slipping from mine. "What are you doing?" she whispered sharply. I laid the folder on the table, opened it, and pulled out the first photo, her kissing him outside the apartment building, his hand resting on her waist. I laid it face up in the middle of the table. Gasps shot around the room. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth, her father's jaw tightened. Her sister froze, wine glass trembling in her hand. "What the hell is this?" her father demanded. She lunged forward to grab the photo, but I slapped my hand down on it. "Don't," I said firmly. "Don't even try." I pulled out the next photo, her sitting on his couch, smiling into the camera, while he leaned in to kiss her cheek. Then the next, her asleep in his bed, sunlight streaming through blinds I'd never seen before. Her mother whispered, "No, no, tell me this isn't real." Her sister buried her face in her hands, I pulled out the receipts, the rent statements, the utility bills with her name and his address. She wasn't just cheating, I said, my voice shaking but strong. She was living with him, building a life with him, while planning a wedding with me. Her father's face turned red, his voice booming across the room. Is this true? She stammered, tears welling. It's not what it looks like. I cut her off, throwing down the text messages I'd printed. I love waking up in our place together. Can't wait until it's just us always. The silence was suffocating. Her mother began to sob openly. Her father slammed his fist on the table, rattling glasses. You've disgraced this family, he growled. She reached for me then, desperate. Please, she begged in a whisper. Don't do this here. Don't humiliate me like this. I looked her dead in the eye. You humiliated me the moment your sister slipped. You humiliated me every day you lied. This isn't my humiliation anymore, it's yours. I gathered the papers back into the folder, tucked it under my arm, and turned to her family. I won't be marrying her, and now you all know why. Then I walked out. Behind me the room erupted, her mother sobbing, her father shouting, relatives whispering furiously, and her voice, desperate, calling my name as if she could reel me back. But I didn't stop. Not once. The cold night air hit me like freedom. My breath came out in clouds, sharp and clean. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. She didn't come home that night or the next. When she finally did, she looked hollow, makeup smudged, eyes red. She dropped to her knees, in front of me. Please, she begged, clutching at my hands. I'll end it with him. I'll do whatever it takes. Don't leave me. We can fix this. I pulled my hands free. You already left me. I'm just catching up. She collapsed, sobbing, but I felt nothing. No anger, no pity, just emptiness. Her family cut her off. Her father told her never to set foot in his house again. Her mother refused to answer her calls. Her sister couldn't even look at her. And the man she had thrown everything away for, he vanished. No calls, no texts, no promises. Just gone. She texted me for weeks after, first begging, please, I'll change, then raging, you ruined me, then desperate, he doesn't even want me, please, I need you. I never replied. The ring went back in its box. The wedding was cancelled. I moved out, into a small apartment that was empty at first, but slowly became home. The silence was strange at first. The bed felt too big, the rooms too bare. But eventually, that silence turned into peace, healing. I started running again, cooking for myself, calling friends I hadn't seen in years. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't checking my phone every 5 minutes, waiting for another lie. Sometimes, late at night, I replay it all. Her sister's laugh, the words slipping out like poison. They've been living together already. The moment that shattered the illusion. And then I remember her face at that dinner table when the truth came out. The way her mask cracked, the way her family's eyes turned cold, the silence that swallowed her whole. That's what I hold on to. Not the betrayal, not the humiliation, the justice. She thought she could live 2 lives forever. One with him, one with me. She thought she could hand me a ring, and hand him a house, and I'd never notice. She thought she could keep the lie polished and perfect, and I'd never see the cracks. But she was wrong, because in the end, she lost everything, and I walked away with the one thing she'll never get back, my dignity.